I am heading up the trail to toward Nesmith Point. I'm not sure I'm going to go all the way up today, but I took last weekend off, didn't hike last weekend, so it's nice to be out on the trail again. It's real pretty right now. There might be some rain this afternoon. We'll see about that, but I certainly am happy to be out here. The time right now is just a little bit before noon. I got started a lot later today, and as you can see, well, probably can't quite tell, the sun is actually about to set behind the side of the gorge. The angle of the sun is so far south at this time of year that it sets pretty early. So I'll be in the shade soon, which it's cool enough right now. The temperature-wise, it's cool enough that I don't really need shade, but I guess it'll be nice to not have to wear sunglasses. And the leaves here, although they're all still green, they haven't even started turning yet, but with the sun shining through them, it's still really pretty. I'm about 3/4 of a mile up the trail now from the trailhead, and the last time I came past here in this, I don't know what you call this slope of fractured stones, there were a bunch of little pikas that were squeaking, and they were quite cute. You can see one of them in my previous hike, or my previous video of my previous Nesmith Point hike. I don't know, that must have been a couple months ago. Anyway, I don't hear them right now, so maybe that means they are, I don't know, I guess they don't feel a need to squeak at me today. No pikas this time, I guess. Today, the trail looks completely different from how it looked the first time I hiked here. I think it was about, I don't know, 12 years ago maybe. This was all dense forest. These ponderosa pines here they had, of course, full tops. They weren't burnt away like these are now. In 2017, there was a really bad fire here, and now it's a completely different experience now. This hike previously was mostly through, like I said, dense forest with really not very much undergrowth. Now that the forest canopy has been burnt away, there's a lot of these scrub little bushes and trees that have grown up. And last time when I hiked here a couple months ago, there were lots of wildflowers up near the top of this side of the canyon that I'm hiking up right now. Anyway, it's so different from what it was like 12 years ago that it's really unrecognizable. It doesn't seem like the same trail, but it's still a nice trail, although very steep. And here you can see, looking down on the Columbia River, there's a, I don't know, some kind of boat in that natural harbor there. And in the past, you couldn't even see the Columbia River through the trees at this point. Well, this spot is really pretty in this afternoon light. Not sure how well it will show up on the camera, but these cliffs with the sun at a fairly low angle, even though it's noon, makes for quite a pretty view. Amazingly, there are still a few little wildflowers at this late time of year. I'm not sure what these little white berries are. I don't know, maybe gooseberries. maybe not. I don't know if they are edible or not, but I'm not going to try them. As I'm gaining elevation here, I'm able to see farther and farther. I can't see any of the high mountains yet, Mount St. Helens or Mount Rainier, but I can certainly see a broader view of the river. And I've been hiking for about an hour and 15 minutes now and gained about 1,500 feet of elevation. According to my watch, I've gone about 2.25 miles, although I think it's probably closer to 2 or maybe a little less than 2 miles. The distance measurement isn't very accurate on the watch, but it's a good hike so far. Somebody has kindly trimmed back a lot of the overgrowth, which makes it much nicer for hiking than last time. Last time I had to push through a lot of these little brambles. They don't have any prickers, but they were I don't know. They were so thick that it was hard to see my feet sometimes. So that made for treacherous walking, but it's been cleared out. So that's very helpful of some kind person. I've just realized that is probably the base of Mount St. Helens. It's not quite that flat. The clouds are making it look like it's been cut off lower than it actually is. It is a flat volcano because of the eruption 40 years ago, but yeah, it's not quite that flat. I'm happy to see some more flowers here. So I am about an hour and 45 minutes up the trail and a little over 2,000 feet, I think 2,150 feet in elevation gain so far. And according to my watch, it's been 3 miles. And the view is really opening up now that I'm above most of the burned out trees. Down there you can see that big rock right there. That is Beacon Rock. And there's actually a hiking trail up to the top of that somebody built about 100 years ago or so, maybe 90 years ago. And it's a pretty fun trail to hike up. You can see just at the corner there, you can just see a fishing boat right there, anchored in the middle of the river fishing. And there's that other bigger boat that's anchored in that natural harbor there. And right now I can't see Mount St. Helens anymore. I think it's behind this ridge here. So I'm about 2.5 hours into my hike. I've gained about 3,000 feet in elevation, and it says around 4 miles. I suppose that's approximately accurate. Maybe a little bit less than that in distance. But interesting thing here is I am just about to leave the burn zone where the forest fire swept through. So this is sort of the transition of where the fire stopped. You can see over there behind these burnt out trees or damaged trees is unburnt forest. And so all of the overgrowth back here that I've been walking through for the past 2.5 hours, there isn't nearly as much in here because the trees block so much of the sunlight that the little plants down below can't really grow very much. So this is what the whole trail used to look like, at least as far as I remember. It was a forested trail with very few views, but a nice carpet of pine needles to walk on. And so it's nice to have a little bit of both. And I think I've got, I don't know, maybe 1.5 miles to go, maybe 2 miles, something like that. And I think I will go on up to the top, since I have now climbed most of the elevation. I guess there's another 500 feet of elevation to go. It's very quiet here in these woods now that I'm kind of over the ridge, and the noise from the railroad and the highway down along the Columbia River, that no longer reaches up here. And now this is definitely some nice silence, a very nice respite. I'm about 4.5 miles into the hike now, I think. So only about another 1/2 mile to go, and elevation here is, I think it's 3,400 feet. And now that I'm up at this elevation, the leaves have changed colors. They're much farther along. Well, I made it up to the top. This is the view from Nesmith Point. There's a bit too many trees up here to have a panoramic view, but it's pretty nice. Here's the view looking down onto the river, and it's gotten a bit too cloudy to see any distant mountains. Well, I am just about back to the car now. It's been, the total time on the hike was, I think, about 5.5 hours right now. It's been a good hike. I guess I hadn't really forgotten, but quite appreciated how steep it is coming back down. This is one of those hikes where it's so steep that I would really prefer to hike up twice rather than up and back down. But anyway, I made it. It was a good hike.